Wow, Tyson Fury says that Billy Joe Saunders will give Canelo a boxing lesson. Interesting stuff. We're going to talk about that on this side, the real side. Let go. What up, Fight World? It's your boy Ego, and I'm back with some more boxing. Make sure you smash the like button. Also, subscribe to the channel for the latest and greatest in boxing. Hit the subscribe button to stay in touch with the latest and greatest in boxing, boxing dialogue, news, what's going on. I do live streams, cover this beautiful sport, the sweet science. So you can expect more of that if you click the like button and subscribe. Now, Tyson Fury did an interview recently, and he believes that his buddy and fellow gypsy, Billy Joe Saunders, will outbox Canelo. He was asked about Billy Joe Saunders. The question was something like, what do you think Billy Joe Saunders is facing the pound for pound number one? Fury responds, quote, whatever pound for pound means, I have no idea what it means. It's like, if it's someone's opinion, isn't it? Pound for pound means if everyone was the same weight, the same height, or the same size, and we know that doesn't exist. So pound for pound, if I jumped out of the hotel window, could I fly like an effing eagle if I had wings? That's what it's like saying. Bullshit, BS. I don't agree with anything like that because they have weight categories for a reason. Unless Canelo, he's going to come up to my weight category and give me a fight, which is not going to happen. Anyway, it's Canelo versus Billy Joe Saunders. It's a top fight at middleweight or super middleweight. I think Billy Joe Saunders gives him, Canelo, a boxing lesson. That's what I'm here to see. That's what I think will happen. So he said he's going to give him a boxing lesson. Fury continues, I think everyone raves on about Canelo, about how good he is and how he's such a great guy and whatever. But I just think every time Billy Joe Saunders steps into the pressure cooker, he delivers, much like myself. When you fight people who aren't supposed to give you a tough fight, then you end up having a tough fight. But then you fight people who are supposed to give you a good hiding, then you win. That's what me and Billy Joe Saunders are up against here. We're up against a good fighter in Canelo who is physically strong and mature, big for the weight, and who likes to hold his feet and fire good, hard punches, and has good head movement. But Billy Joe Saunders is a master boxer, slick, and a southpaw with good footwork and good ring IQ, and he's unbeaten since he was 11 years old. Now he's however old he is, 31 or whatever. There's a reason why he hasn't been beaten since he was 11 or however old he is. He got beat in the Olympics, sorry, he was 17. Canelo has tasted defeat, and we know he could be outboxed because we saw it, end quote. Mayweather outboxed him convincingly. He's had a couple of sticky fights and struggled in a couple of southpaw fights. He said, I saw he struggled with Erislandy Lara, and that was a close fight. He could have lost that one. If Lara was a name and a bit more of a draw, he probably would have gotten the decision. So Billy Joe Saunders is a very good boxer and a very slick southpaw. I know he'll fancy this one. There's a lot on the line. What's on the line here is him being a world champion twice or going down as a great in the sport. That's what's on the line here. I definitely think that Saunders is going to shock a lot of people, and he's going to be an easier fight than what people think it is. I want to see people's faces after he beats Canelo. Wow. Well, this is an interesting take. I disagree with it. I think Canelo will beat Billy Joe Saunders. I think, because here's the thing. Canelo, this is why I disagree with that. Because Billy Joe Saunders can box. He can box. He showed you that in the David Lemieux fight. But Canelo's skill set is way different than the David Lemieux. But the thing is this. Historically, with Canelo fights, even if you outbox him, there's always crazy scorecards, right? Mayweather thoroughly, as Tyson Fury is saying, beat in masterclass performance over Canelo. But guess what? One of the judges, CJ Ross, said the fight was a draw versus Mayweather. And Floyd won like virtually every round. So how did you get at that conclusion? Even fights with like Amir Khan. Amir Khan boxed very well the first four. Then I think Canelo picked it up, started slowing him down round 5, and he knocked him out in 6. So ultimately, scorecards didn't matter in the fight. But just so you know, the judges all had the fight for Canelo predominantly. So it's like we were watching a different fight. Levi Martinez in the Erislandy Lara fight, the Austin Trout fight, right? So that means Billy Joe Saunders is going to have to pull away so convincingly to the point where he outboxes Canelo for real, to the point where there can be no disputes. And I think that's a tall order. Plus, Canelo has very good, vicious power shots that are eye-catching and stuff like that. So I just see Canelo winning. Tyson Fury, you know, he's a gypsy. Billy Joe Saunders is a gypsy. They're friends. They're from the same region. So he's going to rock with his dude, you know, at the end of the day. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. Fury's opinion on it, we'll see. He said people's faces are going to be shocked. I think Billy Joe Saunders is very inconsistent. And to me, I also look at that as a cop-out. He says when you're fighting someone who's not supposed to be that good, then you're in for a tough fight. And then when you fight someone who's good, then you show up. But to me, that's inconsistency. I think you should show up every day. Floyd Mayweather, whether he was fighting Oscar De La Hoya or somebody who was not as revered as Oscar De La Hoya, like Sharmba Mitchell, he showed up with the best version of himself. So I don't know what it is about Billy Joe Saunders and Tyson Fury, but they have similar patterns in some guys that they're supposed to look great against, they look bad against, like Tyson Fury versus Otto Wallin and Billy Joe Saunders and Artur Akov, stuff like that. And to me, I'm always going to go for what's more consistent. So I like Canelo's consistency as well. Canelo, you know, through the faults he has or whatever, he consistently looks like the same fighter, you know, shortcomings or not. Billy Joe Saunders is like hit or miss, failing drug tests, you never know. Last thing I'll say is it's going to be interesting to see what happens next with Tyson Fury, because he was telling everybody he was El Gaetan Rey or whatever, and he was saying he's part Mexican, and people were buying into this persona. But now he's actually going against a Mexican fighter for his own countryman, Billy Joe Saunders. So it's going to be interesting to see if the boxing fans side with Tyson Fury and this whole El Rey persona that he come up with, that's derived off culture vulturing Mexican culture, now that he's not even siding with the Mexican cultured fighter from Guadalajara, Mexico, in Canelo Alvarez. So it'll be interesting to see if the fans turn on Fury, similar to like the Triple G situation. Triple G, also a culture vulture. He said Mexican style, and he was like promoting that. But as soon as he fought a Mexican fighter that was revered like Canelo, you see some of the fans, they weren't rocking with Triple G. But before, when he was beating up Willie Monroe's and Dominique Wade's and stuff like that, you seen people, they had shirts that said Mexicans for Triple G and stuff. But as soon as he started fighting like a person like Canelo, who was beloved, you seen some of the fans turncoat and switch sides. So with Tyson Fury making these bold statements that Canelo, you know, kind of questioning his pound for pound and saying they don't even know what pound for pound is, and unless he's going to come up to heavyweight and boom, 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 and Billy Joe Saunders is going to outbox him, and saying and revealing that Canelo, what I already told you, he could have lost other fights. I thought Triple G beat him, Erislandy Lara beat him. You know, Fury at least confirmed that he believed Lara could have, should have won, you know, in that particular fight. It'll be interesting to see how Fury is perceived by some of the people that allegedly adored him. Drop your thoughts in the comment section. Let me know how I did. Get TUBEBUDDY. TUBEBUDDY is a great browser extension to take your YouTube channel to the next level. I use it daily for videos like this. Click that link. I promise you, 2021, we working. Yeah.